Hi and welcome to History's a Blast. We're still in Lexington, Virginia in this episode. The scenes in this video were shot over several days while we were down here for the weekend. Parade, and it's a special parade for us because my class is having its 45th reunion. So we get to march into the barracks behind the band at the end of the pass and review and give our old yells for our classes. And then after the parade, we'll wander over to Jackson Memorial Hall, the Cadet Chapel. I'll show you some things in there and outside of historical interest. And in this episode, we're also going to go up to New Market, Virginia, the battlefield, the Civil War battlefield where the Corps of Cadets fought on May the 15th, 1864. It's a very special moment in Institute history. It's recently become very controversial with all the problems with the Confederate monuments and so on in the southern United States, and VMI has not been spared from that. And an old statue that had been in front of the Institute for many, many years was recently relocated to the battlefield at New Market, the Virginia Museum of the Civil War. So all those things and more, hopefully, we are going to try to get into this episode. So let's go.
Right shoulder! Arm! Hard! Arm! Left shoulder! Arm!
Oh yeah. Must be something new. Take my weapon.
That's the spirit of VMI.
Are you ready?
Let's go! Roll Virginia Mill! Roll, roll, roll! Roll, roll! VMI 78, 78, 78!
So the Virginia Military Institute was founded in November of 1839 on the grounds of a state arsenal. And a justification for funding the institute was that the cadets would also guard the arsenal. So that was the arrangement. And VMI produced a lot of officers who served in the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia and elsewhere. Panning by, this is the third barracks. It was added after I graduated. The flagpoles bracket the statue of George C. Marshall, the Chief of Staff of the United States Army during World War II, VMI graduate from Pennsylvania, Uniontown. And that's the arch that's named after him. This is the so-called new barracks. Old barracks to the right, part of it dates to 1839, but it was heavily demolished, nearly destroyed by Union forces under General David Hunter in 1864. And when it was rebuilt, and later on, this arch, this blank arch behind the cannon, the cadet battery, was named after Stonewall Jackson. It was Jackson Arch. And that blank concrete panoramic rectangle above the arch and below the window used to say Stonewall Jackson. And his statue, heroic size on a tall plinth, stood looking out over the parade field behind those guns. Across the parade field there is Jackson Memorial Hall, and it's still called Jackson Memorial Hall, at least on the map it is. It's the Cadet Chapel, and that's where we're going next. The guns are called, have always been called, the four Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Actually, I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so before we go into Jackson Hall, Jackson Memorial Hall, we're going to walk over here to the front of the civil engineering, or the engineering academic building, and the statue of Virginia mourning her dead. Now, in front of Nichols Engineering Building is a beautiful statue, and if you're familiar with the Virginia State Seal, that is Virginia. It's Virginia mourning her dead. Has the names of the New Market cadets in the four companies. This is Company A, and there's the Roll of Honor, the 10 New Market cadets that were killed or died of their wounds. And you see all the wounded down there. The Corps suffered, out of a little over 300 cadets, 40% casualties at the Battle of New Market, May 15th, 1864. Company C over here, and these graves, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 here. I'm not sure that they're all interred here, though. I thought my history is sketchy, believe it or not. My own institution. There's Cable, Stannard, Atwill, Crockett, Jefferson, Jones, McDowell, Wheelwright, Haynes, and Hartsfield. And up until just a few years ago, every year on the anniversary of the battle was New Market Day. Today it's Memorial Day, I guess. They have a memorial service for all of the VMI graduates that have died in national service over the years. Just like everything else with monuments in the Civil War, the Confederate side anyway, celebrating anything or anybody that fought for the Confederacy is taboo. And Virginia Military Institute has really gone through the ringer on that the last couple of years. They no longer have a specific ceremony to honor the 10, but they're still here. They haven't dug them up and moved them. Okay, let's go on into Jackson Memorial Hall finally. There's the football stadium across the other side of US Route 11, the Valley Pike. General Lemuel Shepard, VMI class of 1917, World War II and Korea. World Wars I, II, and Korea. Commandant of the U.S. Marine Corps, Chairman of the VMI Foundation, presented in 1938. Oh, I see they have taken the Jackson name off of the Memorial Hall. The VMI Museum, which we will not go into today, save that for a later visit, is downstairs below the sanctuary. Coming into JM Hall, on the stage, on the wall, behind the podium, painting by Benjamin West Kleindienst, VMI graduate, Newmarket cadet, the charge of the cadets at Newmarket. And they have removed the paintings of Jackson and Robert E. Lee that once hung under the balconies, replaced them with other VMI graduates from more modern times, worthy of being memorialized. Okay, we'll head for the battlefield at Newmarket now. See you there. These are the fields over which the Confederate infantry advanced toward the Union's positions on Bouchong Hill. The main fight took place up here in a field that stretches across the interstate on the other side of these trees. Basically where the visitor center is where the real action started. Out there in that copse of trees are the Bouchong buildings. Here's their barn. There's the Hall of Valor, the visitor center, the Virginia Museum of the Civil War. This is where they relocated the Stonewall Jackson statue from in front of the barracks at VMI. There he is, silhouetted against the sky. There's the statue of Stonewall Jackson that stood for years in front of Jackson Arch at the Virginia Military Institute. And his quote as he watched his corps march by before the attack at Chancellorsville in May of 1863, where he received his mortal wound. The Virginia Military Institute will be heard from today. And he's gazing toward Newmarket Gap, the entrance to the Luray Valley. I wish I knew what it was about me and lawnmowers, but I can't seem to go anywhere without a lawnmower going in the background anymore. There was some doubt in my mind as to the history of the markers behind the statue of Virginia mourning her dead at VMI, and here's the answer. These are the 6 cadets of the 10 who died either at Newmarket or of their wounds, whose stones were at their graves at VMI. And here's a storyboard that tells you about it was 257 cadets, not a little over 300 as I said earlier. Since 1866, a commemorative ceremony had been held each year on May the 15th, the anniversary of the battle. In 2005, they moved the gravestones of the 6 cadets interred, and memorial stones for the additional 4 were added. The original 6 tombstones were transferred here in 2006. This explains that at the ceremony, the adjutant would call the name of the 10 Newmarket cadets, and with each name, a cadet in the ranks responded, "Died on the field of honor, sir." Then a wreath was laid, and the corps passed in review. The statue was by Moses Ezekiel, who was a Newmarket cadet. Went on to be a world-famous sculptor. There they are, lying behind their former instructor. Thomas Jonathan Jackson. Let's go on in. Hello. Well, these may be miniatures of the two paintings that are now gone from JM. This is an interesting display that shows two of the Newmarket cadets cut out life-size next to two current cadets. Then and now. Films from, or pictures from reenactments that no longer occur here. Hi there. Here are some costumes, it says, from the field. Oh, these are costumes from the Field of Lost Shoes movie. I see, okay. There's an overall map of the first battle, major battle, at Manassas, First Bull Run, where Jackson got his nickname. And we visited the battlefield at Manassas last summer, and there's a video that I'll put a link to in the description. And we follow the next major campaign, the Peninsula Campaign, McClellan's effort to capture the Confederate capital, and there's Jackson in the valley. And we have 2nd Manassas, Fredericksburg, here's Chancellorsville, where Jackson received his ultimately mortal wound, losing an arm and dying of pneumonia. There's Grant's plan in 1864 for the campaign in Virginia. One of the key items was Franz Sigel with his army of 20,000 to come up the valley and then hopefully cross over the Blue Ridge and link up with the main army near Richmond. But that got stopped right here at Newmarket. And we have the bloodbath of the wilderness. And there's the cadets at Newmarket. Eventually, Lee is brought to bay in the trenches around Richmond and Petersburg. Sheridan is let loose in the valley, and Early's there to stop him. And we visited a couple of those battlefields on the way down here a couple of days ago. And then we come to the retreat to Appomattox and the surrender of the Army of Northern Virginia. And that, in a nutshell, is the Civil War in Virginia. Very nicely done. A few years ago, we made another video, and this one was over in Philippi, West Virginia. And one of the characters that we introduced there was this fella, James E. Hanger, who lost his leg at the battle, if you want to call it that, at Philippi, West Virginia in 1861. And he's the one who went on to invent a very practical, flexible, artificial leg for people whose legs were missing above the knee. Lost his leg at the Greenbrier River on account of a cannon shot, he said. And he went on to found a company that today is still in business as an international corporation making artificial prosthetics. There he is. Right here in the Virginia Museum of the Civil War. This is a great diorama. HO scale. There's also quite a gun collection here. Somebody's private collection, probably. Demonstrating the manual of arms. Yeah, neat. Quite a collection. Oh, here's the for the gift of his Civil War firearms collection, Martin I. Kaminsky. Cadet Lieutenant, Stanton Military Academy. And then he went to the University of Pennsylvania. Well, that's it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll take some time to look at our other ones. See you soon.